Welcome to Bear Paw Media and Education's Public Legal Education webinar series. My name is Nadine Callahoo Hansen. Bear Paw Media and Education is a department of Native Counseling Services of Alberta, and our primary goals are to make public legal education understandable, accessible, and affordable for Indigenous people. We at Bear Paw are not lawyers, although we do endeavor to make sure that this information is correct and current to the best of our abilities and is edited by lawyers. Of course, laws change with elections and societal values, so this information is designed to be general in nature and may not apply to your specific situation. It may be necessary to consult a lawyer for legal advice to assist you. For more information, you can always go to our website at bearpawlegalresources.ca or follow us on social media at Bear Paw Legal. I'd like to begin by acknowledging that the land in which we gather is Treaty 6 territory and a traditional meeting ground and home for many Indigenous peoples, including the Cree, Saulteaux, Blackfoot, Métis, and Nakota Sioux. Today's topic is going to be on cyberbullying and the laws that are available to protect people from cyberbullies. So we'll start off with our video, also entitled Cyberbullying.
Everybody have a cell phone. Like, we like to text and play games. Facebook, everybody talks about Facebook.
A lot of people are saying, follow me on Twitter. You could have a different kind of screen name.
Once it's on the computer, you can't take it off. Everyone sees it. 5 minutes and someone will know everything about you.
I'm going to a new school, yeah. I don't know if I'm excited or nervous, actually. I want to go, but I don't want to go at the same time. Yeah. I think it's going to be difficult for me, but I'm not sure. My name's Carlos. I'm 12 years old, and I'm going to grade 7. I don't know, they see it like, you see it in movies that they're going to bully you because something and something. And my mom told me, you're going to get bullied if you look like a new kid that don't know what to do. But if you look like you know what you're going to do and why you're here, they're going to think you are strong even if you're not. They're not going to bully you.
I'm actually very excited because it will be my first year. I'm in new high school. My name is Brooke. I'm 15. I'm going into grade 10. I am nervous about a few things, but not really because I know I have a few great friends that I will be meeting up with back there, so it's not like I'm going to be going in all alone.
High school is what decides what you're going to be, how successful you're going to be. It's a whole lot of pressure for 3 years of your life, you know. My name is Darian. I'm 16 and I'm going to grade 11.
This is my 35th year with the district, and I started out as a teaching assistant and then got my certification, and I've been a teacher since 1985.
My name is Debbie Johnston. I'm a mother, a teacher, and an advocate.
I've been to 9 schools in the last forever, and it just, I don't know. Everything just seems easier to me if I join a new school. So I asked her to go to a movie.
Who?
Mikayla. I guess how I got her number was through Facebook. I messaged her, and then we've been texting for 2-3 weeks almost.
Facebook is like the starter point for all relationships.
Nowadays. It's not real till it's Facebook official.
Not many people have Facebook in Mexico, but when I came here, I wanted a Facebook because all my friends, like, wow, they have Facebook, they have like Twitter, and it's fun to chat with my friends, like, yeah.
I'm always on Facebook. It's always something new I have to learn. 'Cause it's just on my phone, right? So it's like I'll get a message and I'll just open up Facebook and there it is.
The teachers at my school are actually trying to like calm down the cell phone use and stuff like that, but like we still use them in class. Like it's not really going to stop the teenagers nowadays from texting their friends when they're supposed to be doing classwork.
There is so much information and entertainment out there now in the cloud, online. It's really part of young people's reality. They don't separate their on and offline realities. My name is Professor Shaheen Sharif. I'm an associate professor at McGill University. I always had an interest in the intersection of law and education. And so when I came to McGill, it was almost an automatic extension to look at cyberbullying. In the school context, in terms of the way we view traditional bullying, there's always an intent to harm. It's relentless and persistent, and there's a power imbalance. A lot of bullying is homophobic, it's sexist, it's racist, it's directed to kids who are overweight or have disabilities, or even gifted kids are targeted. Cyberbullying is different in that perpetrators can hide behind screen names. You know, they don't see the person face to face, and so it's easier to harm them. We're spreading unfair rumors about people or modifying photographs and distributing them. And the worst is, of course, spreading photographs of assault or beatings all over the internet.
I got cyberbullied by a friend that I hadn't seen like in 3 years. I was just chatting in Yahoo chat. He told me like, you have a friend who wants to chat with you. Like, okay. He started to call my mom like names and my brother stupid. And he just started to tell me things about me and I don't even know why.
You make me feel like, I don't know, make me feel like I was nothing, like, make me feel like a loser.
There are many, many factors that will cause people to engage in this kind of bullying. There might be neglect at home. There might be socioeconomic issues. There might be mental health issues. They may be rejected by teachers or ignored by teachers. Every situation is different. Pre-adolescence, adolescence, early teens is when the majority of this kind of behavior takes place. And that is because they're becoming much more socially aware, social relationships, and they're starting to define boundaries.
I found out about a site a little while ago. It's called thedirty.com. 2 of my best friends are on that site. They posted 3 different pictures of her, and it's like, people like started shit about her. So it's like, they just found it right to go and just start posting it online where everyone can see and everyone's just gonna start talking about it.
It says, like, if you guys ever see this girl, run. This chick is freaking nasty. She steals and she's a dirty liar. She deserves to be on more than one of these. It's just kind of sick how some people twist things just to have something to talk about this week.
I've been in her shoes. I know how it feels to have people talking about you. Government says that, like, they're trying to stop online bullying and all this stuff. Well, then how do they let sites like that just pass? How do they let things like that just, nothing happen with them? They just let it go. It's like, if they're gonna stop stuff like that, they have to stop from the root, from the base of it, and you know what? Those sites are starting it. I'd love to be a part of making this kind of stuff stop.
It's kind of an interesting phenomenon that strangers want to demean people they've never met. But it all becomes part of this sort of a sense of social belonging. Kids who are growing up immersed in digital media are not really differentiating between joking and teasing and crossing the line to criminal harassment. In many cases, young people have testified in court that it's not the person they're targeting that they're really even thinking about. They're thinking about their friends and making them laugh and seeing who can make the most outrageous statements and insults, and who can post the funniest videos, and an infinite audience can participate in it.
Six months ago, I got into a fight, go to somebody's backyard. We didn't even know the people, we just knew that they were gone. And it was just to see who could kick the shit out of the other person. They had the video, and it's just like me being cocky. I was like, come on, you little bitch, whatever, and I was looking away, and boom! I got knocked out, needless to say, and I was out for like 10 minutes. It went on YouTube, and it went on Facebook, and everybody had it on their phone. It went all over to different schools. I'm pretty sure even the gym teachers seen it. They didn't even report it. And I was in grade 10, right? All the 12s were laughing at me. My confidence was burnt, my ego was cut down. Like, people knock you down for something like that. It hurts. Makes you not wanna, go to the cafeteria. Makes you not wanna go, to the cool people couches. Maybe it was because of that incident, but I just feel like I didn't fit in there. I pretty much made my mom switch me, because then I was like, I'm not going to school.
When you're actually using real life video, those images are saved, produced, passed on, and every time somebody views that video or posts an insult, they're demeaned online and embarrassed online. Those people are being victimized over and over and over again. It's devastating for a young person, especially teenagers in that adolescent period where they're establishing friendships. Friends are everything at the time. Their reputation is the most important thing in their lives. That's why so many adolescents commit suicide from bullying.
Jeff was a real computer geek, and he was a whiz at programming and everything. The boy, Robert, who eventually came to bully Jeff, was something of a serial bully. But he'd never taken on Jeff because Jeff was much bigger and stronger physically, and he was also very popular. He and a couple of his friends made their own video game. Jeff developed the game, and he shared the password, and then he sent it out to all his friends, his cousins, his grandparents. Everybody had Jeff's game, so they could play it and give him feedback. And one of the kids that had the password shared it with Robert. Jeff had worked about 14 months on the game, and Robert went in and signed on. He just deleted it. He set up the site to cyberbully Jeff. He put up Jeff's school picture with the picture of the crypt keeper, and he said, "Isn't this the ugliest thing you've ever seen?" and sent it out to everybody. He kept a running journal, like we call it blogging now, of what he'd done to Jeff, whether they'd throw gum in his hair, or whether they'd walk behind him and called him faggot. They made fun of the way he talked. They made fun of all his mannerisms. They made fun of what he wore. He was constantly tormenting Jeff, both online and in school.
The victim is always dehumanized, because then it becomes all about themselves and who they're entertaining and what they're trying to prove and what kind of power they're trying to establish. Most kids' experiences you never hear about because they don't want to report it. So we don't know how extensive the problem is, because when we did research, over 50% said that they would never report it because they don't think the adults in their lives would do anything about it. And they're afraid that their media privileges will be taken away.
After 8th grade, the little boy that I knew before all this, there was so little of him left. He didn't smile anymore. He didn't hang out with friends. He didn't talk to other kids anymore. He he seemed tired. I worried he was coming down with something. He just kind of got quiet and to himself, and he was online emailing with friends. I brushed that long hair out of his eyes and kissed him goodnight. The next morning, woke up, and when we opened the door and didn't see him in the room, we turned and looked the other way into his closet. And Jeff had tied the strap from his book bag around his neck and hung himself from the door to his closet. And he was already gone.
In Canada, there are a lot of parent lobbies calling for more legislation, sort of harsher legislation. And you know, some of these concerns are legitimate, but we really have to think about the impact on kids who are not really mature enough to realize what they're doing and don't really have an intent, criminal intent. We have enough laws existing or legal frameworks existing to deal with these issues. We don't need new legislation for cyberspace. And these kids are not going to learn more if they're thrown out of school and sitting in jails. They just want to be heard. So if we're able to harness that need to be heard, we can mobilize social networking among young people, and especially the bystanders, to turn this around in positive ways and get them to stand up for those who are being victimized and help them think through the kinds of ethical choices and legal choices they're making, and the legal risks that they run when they engage in this kind of behavior.
After we lost him, I went back over all the emails and everything that he'd sent, everything on there. I told the detectives that if there was a note, it would be on his computer. If there were clues, if there were proof of what had been going on, because I told them right from the beginning that it was the bullying and the cyberbullying. In the 3 years that it had been going on, not one person had ever come forward to tell an adult. If they had, we could have done something to stop it. It would no longer have been Jeff's word against Robert's. There would have been a witness.
It's not just a matter of educating teachers or parents. It's a matter of educating our legislators and the people who make judicial decisions, the lawyers, as well as law enforcement. You know, the police really need to be sensitized to some of these issues.
These are just wristbands that I got for my public speaking at the junior highs. It says "Stand Up and Stop Bullying" on the front. I'm speaking to the grades 6, 7, 8, and 9 for National Bullying Awareness Week. I actually talked to a counselor about it at my school, and then one of the counselors from one of the other schools in my district asked me to come and speak to them about it. In some way, shape, or form, you have been bullied. Someone's walked down the hallway and just made a rude comment. That is bullying. Someone's posted a rude status or liked a status that was just harmful to someone else. That is bullying. You're actually hearing it from a grade 10 student who has gone through it, that it needs to end. But it has to be you guys that stop it. It has to be you guys that stick up for each other. If you ever need someone to talk to, you can go talk to your counselor, you can talk to your teachers, you can talk to your parents.
I talked to my parents. They told me, if there's somebody who's gonna bully you or has bullied you, just talk to us. It's good to talk to us because, well, we can talk to their parents and know what's happening, and we can talk and we can help you so you don't feel bad.
The focus needs to be on attitudes that adults are modeling. Trust and respect. Those are responsibilities of educators and parents to foster, as well as of communities in general.
In high school, just something about it that it's kind of scary, but then again, even tougher transition going to a new school second year in a row. There's a lot of pressure that you gotta, like, from a lot of people, like from your past teachers, from your parents, you know. There's a lot of pressure, especially when they see you as having so much potential or had so much potential. I bet you I could have done a little bit better if I got to a better start.
Kids need to develop a sense of empathy towards everyone they interact with. You've got to find a connection for them to make it real for them, to humanize it for them. It's about bringing humanity back into it. Whoever you're picking on, remember, it could be your sister, it could be your mother, it could be someone you love.
Nobody ever doubted that Jeff would change the world, and we really feel like in some small way that he has. It really changed everyone involved, because the kids, I had so many of them tell me, never again will I keep my mouth shut. I won't let this ever happen.
The presentations in the schools has helped me open up and kind of get over what I've been through. But it's like, I hope that it also has helped some other people get over what they've been through, because it was pretty bad. It's gotten easier because it's like I've started talking to people who I would have never expected me to start talking to. I've become more of a stronger, confident person about who I am, what I believe in, and what I want to do with my life.
In chatting networks like Facebook, don't be friends with people you don't know. They can just bully you anytime because they're not actually your friends. They're just ignorant people who doesn't have anything more to do. If I see my friends getting bullied online, I will start chatting with them and tell them just to come pay attention with them and to delete that guy who's like bullying them.
I have lots of dreams, and I know how to get there. I have no doubt in myself. Kids will be mean, and that you shouldn't listen to what people say, because they're just often looking for a scapegoat or somebody to blame something on because something went wrong in their own lives. So I feel like I put more things into perspective. I'm more aware of what I say online or do, because you don't know what's happening on the other side of the computer. The person reading it. Sure, it's just words, but sometimes words hurt, right?
So I hope you enjoyed that video. It's also available for viewing at any time on our website, www.bearpawlegalresources.ca. So what is cyberbullying? It's online social cruelty that is relentless, ongoing, and electronic bullying using cell phones, text messaging, computers, through social media sites, chat, and websites, as well as tablets. So any type of bullying that is exercised using some type of electronic device. Why is cyberbullying so much different than face-to-face bullying? And in fact, why is cyberbullying so much more severe and traumatic than face-to-face. The first one is because you can't escape it. It can happen 24 hours of the day, 7 days of the week, and can reach people even when they're alone. The reality is that we have access to smart TVs, our phones, our computers, our tablets all the time. Show me one person that hasn't taken their phone into the washroom with them while they were playing games or whatever. We are so tied to our electronics 24 hours of the day, 7 days of the week, and that makes us vulnerable and constantly accessible to cyberbullying. We can't hide from it. Messages and images can be posted anonymously, so bullies aren't your typical bullies. They, with a cyberbully, they can look any way, they can act any way, because the reality is that being anonymous, that you can hide so well online. And as well, not only are things posted anonymously, but it's called the World Wide Web for a reason. Anytime you press send, instantly things are distributed quickly to a very wide audience, an unlimited audience. It can be difficult and sometimes even impossible to trace the source. It's very easy to hide and remain hidden online. Deleting inappropriate or harassing messages, texts, and pictures is extremely difficult after they've been posted or sent. Unless you're a Kardashian and have lots and lots of money, it is virtually impossible to delete anything once it has been posted to the internet. So different communication modes of cyberbullying. So ways that we, apps that we use in order to cyberbully: instant messaging, email, text messaging, dashboards like the video showed, thedirty.com, social networking sites such as Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or TikTok, you name it. Chat rooms, internet gaming, even our online gaming sites now have the ability to wear headsets and interact with the other players from around the world. And so anytime other people have access to us, there is opportunity for bullying to occur. Blogs and websites. Some types and methods of cyberbullying: flaming, we've all done it, where you are texting your spouse, your friends, and an argument rages out. In situations like that, I don't know about you, but I can't even type fast enough as we are having this heated exchange on technology, whether it's emails, more often instant messaging or text messaging. So flaming is brief heated exchanges between two or more that occur via communication technology. Harassment, which is viewed as involving repetitive, relentless, offensive messages sent to a target. Denigration, which is information about another that is derogatory and untrue. So making false claims about somebody just to be hurtful. Impersonation, otherwise known as posing or catfishing. It's where the perpetrator pretends to be the victim, most often using the victim's password to gain access to their accounts, and then communicate negative, cruel, or inappropriate information with others as if the target were voicing those thoughts. Generally, people that pose or impersonate or catfish aren't doing it to be mean or cruel, but rather to be funny, and unfortunately to the receiver, the target, it usually winds up being hurtful. Outing and trickery, which is sharing personal, often embarrassing information with others, causing shame or trauma, embarrassment to the target. Exclusion or ostracism. The Army uses ostracism as a way of getting soldiers back in line. There's a movie out called Unfriended. And so even though somebody may not be actively harassed or bullied or ridiculed, the fact that somebody is convincing their social network to unfriend them, to ostracize them, is also a form of cyberbullying. Cyberstalking, which is the use of electronic communication to stalk somebody through repetitive harassment and threatening communications. We also see online video recordings of assaults. There was a trend of happy slapping. And this was when, by the way, it's not very happy. This is when a group of people will target some unsuspecting person and will race up on them and start assaulting them, slapping them, punching them, while somebody in their group video records it. And then they run away and they upload the video onto the internet. Sexting, which is sending or posting of nude or semi-nude pictures or videos. In Canada, we have laws to protect against sexting. First and foremost, that it is absolutely against the law for anybody to share nude or semi-nude pictures of people under 18. And in fact, it is really discouraged for people under 18 to be taking and sending selfies of themselves, nude or semi-nude as well. And people can be charged with child pornography for sharing pictures of minors that are nude or semi-nude. In Canada as well, in order to control the amount of sharing of nude and semi-nude photos and videos, even for adults. If somebody wants to share a nude or semi-nude photo or video of somebody, they have to actually get written consent from the person that is posing in the photo or the video. And then they can only share with the intended person that they have consent to. If the receiver of that photo or video wants to share, then they also have to go back to the person that is in the picture or the video and get further written consent. Otherwise, to be sending photos of nude or semi-nude pictures or videos of somebody without their written consent, people could be criminally charged. So it is certainly an effective way that Canada can control the distribution of nude and semi-nude pictures and videos. So who typically cyberbullies? Now, I'd like to be able to say that it's always people that have dominant personalities and like to assert themselves using force. And yes, it often is, but it doesn't necessarily have to be, because they are able to remain anonymous behind technology. It can be anybody. It really can be. It can be your neighbor. It can be the person sitting behind you in school. Absolutely anybody. But typically, people with dominant personalities and those that like to assert themselves using force. They will typically have a temper, are impulsive, and are easily frustrated. They may have more positive attitudes toward violence. They may have difficulty following rules, appear to be tough, and show little empathy for those who are bullied. They often relate to adults in aggressive ways. They're good at talking themselves out of difficult situations. These people might wind up growing up and becoming lawyers because they're very good at talking themselves out of trouble. They may engage in both proactive aggression and reactive. So reaction as well as, so they might actually start the aggression, or they may be responding to aggression. I had alluded to some of the reasons why children would engage in cyberbullying. Maybe it's that they're not even realizing that what they're doing is cyberbullying. We've become a society where violence has become normal. We see it on TV, in movies. We as a society are bombarded with violence every minute of every day, practically, through media and all around us. And so it's become kind of normal. And so we have to stop that normalization. We have to stop thinking that it's normal, and we have to say, no, this isn't right. Others may, some cyberbullies, and I like to believe that this is the minority of the cyberbullying, do it with the express purpose of hurting and humiliating their victims. That's what they mean to do. Still, others do it because they're bored, or simply think that they're sending threatening or demeaning messages to another person because it might be funny, right? And so again, it's about doing something without really giving it a lot of thought. Again, with cyberbullying, because it is instant and so widespread on the World Wide Web, that we, and I say we in general, tend to do things very fast-paced without taking that little bit of extra time to think about the reactions or the consequences to our actions. Some may bully as a way to act out aggressive fantasies online as well. And again, it's about that being bombarded with violence all around us, that it becomes almost cool. Some engage in electronic violence. Oh, we've already talked about this. So how does cyberbullying differ from face-to-face bullying? Motives may include boredom, power, meanness, as retaliation for being bullied, for attention, looking cool and tough, and jealousy. Cyberbullying is safer than traditional bullying because it's anonymous and less likely to get caught. And it's easier because it doesn't involve face-to-face confrontation. And so a person doesn't necessarily need to be big and tough, and they don't even necessarily have to have immediate cause or reasons to bully or become violent, because they can be in the quiet of their bedroom and just think, I think I want to say or do something to somebody that I might think that I think is going to be funny. But then the consequence is that it turns out to be mean and cruel. So it is definitely more accessible and safer. So if somebody is a victim of cyberbullying, don't keep it to yourself. So often we either don't recognize it as abuse or bullying because, oh, they were just trying to be funny or whatever, but but don't keep it to yourself for whatever reason, whether it's a sense of embarrassment or shame, whatever, report it. I always say, where bullying or cyberbullying is concerned, report it, don't support it. So report it, don't keep it to yourself. Inform the internet, instant messenger, or mobile service provider. Every app that is available online has a contact us button or link. And so if for whatever reason somebody is being bullied, whether it's through Facebook or some gaming site or whatever, contact us, the service provider, and report it. They would be able to track it and maybe even be able to block or cancel that bully's account. Inform your local police. Never reply to messages from cyberbullies, but although I do say don't reply to the messages, don't erase or delete the messages either, because you want to keep those for proof or evidence. So what can you do to protect yourself from cyberbullies, and for that matter, also identity theft? Never give out or share personal information, numbers, your PIN, your credit cards, your name, your address, phone number, your family's names, dates of birth. If you're in school or you belong to a team or some other recreational activity, don't provide details about those teams, school names, anything else. As well, sharing pictures online is also sharing personal information, especially if you're taking pictures using your electronic devices. There are location beacons inserted in there. And so you would have to go into your settings and turn off the location setting on the photos, because if you don't and you post pictures and share them publicly, that somebody would be able to trace your location in those pictures as well. And so photos are also classified as personal information. Don't believe everything you read on the internet. Anybody can post anything on the internet, whether it's true or not. Use netiquette. And so netiquette is, don't do to someone else what you wouldn't want done to you. Okay. And I always suggest that before you even hit the send button, take 30 seconds and think about what you're posting and think about the long-term consequences. As well, when we're including netiquette, there's also something called your digital footprint. And with the digital footprint, everything that you post online is available to everybody. And what many people don't realize is that potential employers and schools will now actually search people online to get a sense of who they are. And so if you're posting a lot of really inappropriate or even violent or abusive or bullying messages online, first of all, those stay out there forever. And secondly, that if you're applying for school or jobs or programming, and you really have your heart set on it, if those program heads or employers are searching you on the internet, they're reading everything that you've posted, appropriate or not. And so use netiquette. Never send a message to others when you're angry. Again, it's that anything done, any action done in the instant and also in an angry moment will come back to haunt us. So take that time to step back, remove yourself from the situation, and really think about what you are posting before you hit the send. Never open a message from someone you don't know. Delete it. If it doesn't look or feel right, it probably isn't. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Remember, trust your instincts while surfing the internet. If you find something that you don't like, if it makes you feel uncomfortable or scares you, turn off the computer and tell an adult. Also, you don't always have to be on. Turn off, disconnect, unplug. Give yourself a break from the internet. Don't stay online or connected too long. Spend time with your family, especially during COVID, when relationship is really at a disconnect right now. Try a little less virtual reality and a lot more actual reality. Make sure that you have a balanced life both on and off the internet. Sign on the dotted line. Create a contract with your parents or guardians. Ask your parents to read the information for them on the website so that they will be informed about cyberbullying and internet safety issues. What should be saved should somebody be cyberbullied? To report cyberbullying, it's really important to save as much information as you can. The more you have saved, the easier it will be to track down the people that are bothering you. So things that are like with emails, the email address, the date and time received, copies of any relevant emails with their full headers. With groups and communities, the URL of offending MSN group sites, nicknames and email addresses of the offending person, as well as the date you saw it happen. Profiles, the URL of profiles, nicknames, and email addresses of the offending person, as well as the date you viewed that profile. And in chat rooms, the date and time of chat, the name and URL of the chat room you were in, the nickname and email address of offending person, as well as, if you can, get a screenshot of the chat room. Remember, don't reply, but don't delete the chats, the emails, the messages. If you suspect that your account has been hacked into or stolen, you'll need to know the answer to your secret question. Go to the Passport Member Center, click I forgot my password, sign in and answer the secret question. So if you are able to reset your password and regain control of your account, perfect. Go to the Passport Member Center, answer the profile questions that you listed. In the error message box, type account stolen. In the additional comments box, tell them the time you last signed in successfully and list all of your previous passwords if you can remember. The Passport team investigates each case and any attempt to steal passwords is taken very seriously. If you can't regain control of your account, you may end up having to delete your account and start from scratch, which might suck a little bit. Also, kids, youth, please never arrange to meet with someone you've met online unless your parents go with you. Even then, meet in a public place. You may need to delete your current email accounts, cell phone pager accounts, and set up new ones. If you have persistent cyberbullying problems, it is recommended that you do this as soon as possible, unless you're working with the police and your telecommunications provider to keep the accounts active to try and catch the cyberbully. So what can parents do to assist with their kids or their youth being from being cyberbullied. Parents, if you're anything like me, I always say that you know that you're getting old when technology steamrolls over you and leaves you in its dust. Technology develops at such an incredibly fast pace that it is almost impossible to keep up. And so if you're like me and feeling overwhelmed, you're not alone. And your kids, they are actively involved in the internet world, and they know a lot more than us. And so it is critical that we become familiar and involved in your child's online social networking world. They've got so much of their life tied up into the internet that it is critical that if we're going to keep them safe, that we become familiar and involved with their networking world. Establish rules and limits to your child's online exposure. Develop and maintain open communication with your child, even just as simple as sitting down and asking them questions about the app that they're currently working in or playing on. Watch for signs that your child may be a victim of cyberbullying. You can also request intervention assistance from the school and talk to your kids openly about sexting. So the warning signs that your child may be a victim of cyberbullying, so signs that you can watch for. If your child appears upset after being online, there might be a problem. If they appear upset after viewing a text message, if they've suddenly withdrawn from social interaction with peers, they stop being interested in hanging out with friends or social activities of any kind. The thing that makes cyberbullying so dangerous is that you never know for sure who the bully is. It could be your best friend for all you know. And so people have a very hard time trusting anybody. Everybody that they look at is, I wonder if it's them. I wonder if they're the ones that are posting these really cruel comments about me. And so they tend often to withdraw from social interaction. If there's a drastic drop in academic performance, maybe your child normally comes home with A's and B's, but now they're sitting at the C and D area, or or they've just dropped out of school, then there's something going on, and has been targeted by on-campus bullying as well. And so if you are noticing any of these signs, sit down with your child, your youth, and talk to them about what's happening in their online and real life life. I've included a bunch of online resources for parents to become more familiar with your child's online world. connectsafely.org, onguardline.gov, netfamilynews.org, commonsensemedia.org, stopbullying.gov, cyberbullyhelp.com, bullyingcourse.com, b-free.ca, cyberbullying.org. There is also a link for tools for Indigenous youth to make good decisions about sharing online, as well as the Edmonton Community Legal Center has some great online resources. And also there's this link for the working mother with apps and games that can promote empathy within your child. As well, the federal government has created a 24-hour-a-day, 7 days of the week, toll-free helpline for First Nation and Inuit who just need to get some telephone counseling services. They also have a website that you can access both in French and English. This helpline is also available not just in French and English, but they can make available counselors in Cree, Ojibwe, and Inuktitut on request. Nobody knows the internet better than your kids, so allow them to be the experts. Children can be an important source of information in understanding the way that students at their school interact online. If parents allow their children to be the experts on occasion, they may find this helps to keep the lines of communication. Youth are often happy to show adults around the popular sites where their classmates spend time online. It may be humbling to admit that children may have more information about the latest technology than adults, but it's also a wonderful opportunity for parents to build a positive relationship with their children by letting them be the teacher for a change. Recognize that it's discussing new media, we need to be listening as much or more than we're talking. Some forms of cyberbullying are considered criminal acts. Under the Criminal Code of Canada, it's a crime to communicate repeatedly with someone if your communication causes them to fear for their own safety or the safety of others. It's also a crime to publish a defamatory libel or a lie, something false that is knowingly false about somebody. And a cyberbully may also be violating the Canadian Human Rights Act. Those who are involved in sexting as both victim and perpetrator can face personal consequences such as embarrassment and anxiety. Individuals who send sex and who are found with nude pictures or videos on their cell phones can face suspension or expulsion from school. Additionally, youth involved with sexting may face substantial legal consequences, including felony charges of distribution of pornography and legal classification as a lifetime sex offender. And so there are some huge and very serious consequences to cyberbullying, especially once it becomes a criminal matter. So what can educators do? Schools and school boards should contact bullying.org Canada and have them present information sessions for students and parents about cyberbullying. Should update their computer and internet acceptable use policies and learn about and implement restorative justice like peacemaking circles and peer support. To include harassment done with mobile and wireless internet information technologies, there should be clear and serious consequences for anyone who doesn't follow the AUP, acceptable use policies, that should be signed by both students and parents. The updated acceptable use policy should specifically prohibit the use of ICTs for cyberbullying. Also, in Alberta, in the Education Act, we have what I call the power of one, the student responsibilities. Section 31 of the Act states that a student, as a partner in education, has the responsibility to refrain from, report, and not tolerate bullying or bullying behavior directed toward others in the school, whether or not it occurs within the school building, during the school day, or by electronic means. Section 33 sub 1 of that same act states that a board, so the education board, as a partner in education, has the responsibility to establish, implement, and maintain a policy respecting the board's obligation under subsection 1D to provide a welcoming, caring, respectful, and safe learning environment that includes the establishment of a code of conduct for students that addresses bullying behaviors. I include this because I want people to be aware that schools do have a legal obligation to create and maintain a safe and healthy environment for youth to be able to safely and confidently attend school. We need to care less about whether our children are academically gifted and more about whether they sit with the lonely kid in the cafeteria. And I say this because there was a young person in the States. Her name was Natalie Hampton, who spent most of her 7th and 8th grade school years eating lunch alone as a result of being bullied. She changed schools and all is better, but she also developed an app called Sit With Us, where kids can sign up as ambassadors and post that they are open seats at their lunch table. And so each and every one of us has the power to make significant changes with just the slightest effort. And so if there are parents out there or youth out there, please look for the app Sit With Us on your phone and look for your school. If it's not listed, list it. And list yourself as an ambassador, somebody who would be willing to let the new kid sit with you at lunch so that they don't have to be alone. Or if someone is being bullied, that they know that there's somebody that they can turn to that would support them and just simply sit with them. So the Sit With Us app is one simple change. Why children are reluctant to report bullying? Because of the negative messages about tattling and snitching. One great way to describe the difference between reporting and tattling. Reporting is that you are discreetly reporting to a teacher, an adult, a person in power in private to get somebody out of trouble. Where tattling or snitching is when somebody is telling, often in a very public and humiliating way, to get somebody in trouble. So reporting is to help somebody get out of trouble, where tattling is telling on someone to get them in trouble. So just a neat way of differentiating between reporting and tattling. Boys may feel additional pressures to try to deal with bullying on their own and not to appear weak. For other children, their reluctance to report bullying to school staff may reflect a lack of confidence in teachers and other school authorities' handling of bullying incidences. They don't believe or have faith that the powers that be will do anything about it or can do anything about it. Students also may be unaware of efforts of school staff to try to address bullying incidents sensitively and confidentially. And so we, the people, adults, teachers, we need to make more efforts to be open and public about being a safe place, a private place, a confidential place to report bullying, that they can be safe to report to us, and that there is a process in place to deal with it. So where do we go from here? Make surfing the net more of a family or community experience to help parents educators and youth leaders deal with some of the current concerns we face. Visit the sites your kids visit. Use the technologies your kids use. Let them be the experts, because after all, they are the experts. Become familiar and actively participate in new technology. Come on, parents, I know it's hard and information overwhelming, but in order to best protect our kids, we need to jump in with both feet into their worlds. Communicate media guidelines and expectations for appropriate use. So set some boundaries and guidelines. Defining and explaining why certain activities are inappropriate, set limits, and use effective monitoring tools. Engage our youth in a variety of activities where they are unplugged. Will make it easier to limit their time online. Invite children to participate in regular physical activity and creative outlets such as art and music will be more effective than simply nagging a child to turn off the computer. So don't just set the limits and then expect them to just turn off, but become an active participant in their world outside of the internet. Have a board game night, or have the family all go for a bike ride or a walk, or but do something as a family to encourage them to disconnect. Through efforts to engage in the media experience of our children, the lines of communication can be opened and greater understanding gained, not only of the harmful uses of technology, but the many benefits that await our children who use technology wisely. And so that concludes the cyberbullying workshop. Thank you for attending and have a wonderful rest of the day.